How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Repti-verse. I'm sorry I'm filming this out here. The audio is probably horrible. This is the best lighting that I could find was on my front porch because the reptile room lights turned off. And I'm not turning them back on just to film an intro. So, have to do with this. Alright, so Asian water monitors. One of the most beautiful reptiles that we have in the hobby. One of my favorite all-time lizards, a dream reptile of my own. Don't have one right now, sadly. I just really don't have the space, especially not with just having gotten a retic. I don't have the space for an Asian water monitor. When I do, I'll be getting one someday, though. But in today's video, we're going to talk about whether or not Asian water monitors make good pets. And if, maybe, you would like one as your first lizard. You won't. But I can't do that myself. I can't really do a whole lot of this video because I don't keep them. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about care and whether or not animals are great pets if I don't personally own the animal. So, without any further ado, I'm going to give the rest of this video over to Jeff and Maddox from Exotics Idiotics. So, before I do that, like the video. Just like the video. If you don't like it, tell me how I can improve in the future. And be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Giving it to Jeff and Maddox.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Jeff.
My name is Maddox.
We're over here from Exotic Idiotics.
And this is Loki. Our friend Grant over at the Repti-verse asked us to film a little video about what it's like to keep water monitors as pets. So, let's get into it. So the main thing that Grant wanted to talk about is whether or not we think water monitors are good pets. And honestly, no. I don't really think that for the average keeper of reptiles, they are good pets. They require a lot of full-time care, a lot of extra attentive needs. They always love to be with you, and if you don't hold them super frequent, then they don't always sing like this. So this is, our only hobby is really keeping and working with animals. So since we don't do anything else, we're always on top of things, specifically with this guy. We have a bunch of animals, and he requires the most care. Dare I say more care than every other animal we have combined. He is very attentive, but that doesn't mean that all of them are bad pets. It just really depends on the person. If you are somebody that just loves having explorative, curious little creatures, these things are perfect, but if you work super strict work hours and you can't be with them constantly, then they will get mean or vicious, and they won't always stay like this.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the care. Maddox kind of touched on the fact that, like, for the average person, these are not the best pets. Yes, they're great, they're interactive lizards, they're extremely intelligent, and you can see he is pretty calm most of the time, and that's awesome. But it requires a lot of time and a lot of patience and a lot of trust building to keep them like this. And if you don't know much about water monitors, they can get extremely large. This is the third longest lizard in the world, behind only the Komodo dragon and the crocodile monitor. So in captivity, you're not going to see them as big. If you read online, it'll say that they can get up to 10 feet. That's not really common in captivity. You don't really see a lot of like 10-foot water monitors. But you can expect a 5 to 6 foot lizard easily. And they don't want to just sit on your lap all the time. They want to come out, they want to explore. So it's not something that you're going to just hold and it's just going to sit there like a tegu or a skink or a bearded dragon even. They're a lot more active than that because they're a lot more intelligent than that. So they like to climb, they like to swim, they need big water features, and that's a lot of things to provide for an extremely large lizard. So they also will eat a lot. I mean, we feed him just about every day, and it's a lot of food as they get older when you're starting to feed whole prey items like rats or, you know, chicks or, you know, stuff like that. It can be a lot of food. But now let's get into talking about exactly how we recommend you house them as babies.
So this is Loki's cage right now. We moved him from a 20 long into a 36 by 18 by 18, which is close to a 40-gallon breeder. And the reason we started him off in such a smaller cage, considering he didn't get any bigger between now and then, is when you are socializing these guys, you gotta make sure that they don't really have anywhere to run or that many places to hide, because in the beginning it's all about sight and smell, and every time you walk by they want to like see you, and when you're socializing them you gotta make sure that they see you, or else anytime you walk up to their cage they're gonna be like, who is that? What do they want with me? No, get away. So we kept him in there for about 2 or 3 weeks, and now we moved him into a cage that is a little more his size. If you look online and you look up hatchling water monitor habitat size, the #1 result is 40 to 55 gallons, which is accurate, but it's also Google, Wikipedia, not that accurate all the time. So when you are socializing them, keep them in a smaller sized cage.
Now let's talk about the setup of the cage specifically, and just why we do it the way we do it, how we do it the way we do it. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here, but there is not like a true hide. We do not have a hide box that he can get into where he's not going to be able to see us, we're not going to be able to see him. And the reason for that is, like Maddox said, we want him to get in places where he can feel safe. He will get up under here, but he's not invisible. He can get back kind of behind here on this rock to bask, but we can still see him and he can still see us. If you set them up in a cage where you give them a place where they can hide and be invisible all the time, then you are giving them a way to escape from you, and that's not what you want to do. You don't want them to be able to escape from you. You want them to be able to see you at all times, because that's how they're going to learn that you are safe and that you are not a threat to them. And as you can see, when I have him out, I do this kind of stuff all around his face. I'm always touching on his ears, his neck, his head, his feet. Whenever we pick him up like this, I'm always rubbing his tail, because I don't want any part of this lizard to be, I don't want him to be shy about being held, handled, petted, or whatever anywhere. So we're always rubbing them, we're always giving them contact as much as possible, and you can see he's just got these long tongue flicks. He's not freaking out. He's just trying to move, because you got to let the monitor do monitor things. They want to explore, they want to check everything out. If they do start act like, if you think that they are freaking out, you can always take them and you hold them up, and you can see he just instantly, now he's got a bird's eye view. He's checking everything out, looking at his surroundings, and he has stopped trying to run away, because now he's trying to take all this information in. And then I will bring him back down slowly, and look at how calm he is. Just like, oh, there's daddy, we're good, we're good. But that's why we set it up the way that we do. I do not recommend hide boxes for these guys, especially when you're trying to socialize them and they're small, and you want it to be open. You want to have stuff for them to climb on and stuff for them to kind of get behind so they feel safe, but you don't want them to find a spot where they feel like they are invisible and they can't see you and you can't see them.
So just a little bit about their daily care. They typically eat every day, specifically at this size. When they get bigger, you can move to every other day, and also obviously feed them bigger things that are going to be easier to feed. They love ground meat, stuff like that. But as a baby, they basically will only eat live insects. So we feed him small, or I guess not small, appropriately sized dubias, crickets. Heck, sometimes we even feed him baby hissing cockroaches. Just whatever will fit in his mouth. They love to try new things, and they love to have some variety. So make sure not to feed the same thing more than 2-ish weeks consecutively, because they do love to mix it up. And it'll also get them open to new things when they grow and get bigger. It'll just keep them open-minded. They poop in their water every day, so that requires daily changing. And their basking spot, they do require a very hot basking spot at around 130 degrees. And we have just found that ceramic heat emitters have been much better than normal heat bulbs. And of course, they are monitor lizards, so they do need a UV strip. My mistake, we're not using a ceramic heat emitter, we are using a deep heat projector, because it projects deep heat all the time, giving them that nice hot basking spot. And that's basically all there is to it. I know that I'm making it sound a lot simpler than it is in reality, But we do recommend handling them daily. They will not get mean and aggressive if you don't handle them for one day, but it is just a lot of fun. I enjoy myself doing it, so anytime I'm bored, I'll come down here and just play with the water monitor.
Well, that's about it for us today, guys. We hope that you learned a little bit about water monitors, whether or not they're good pets, kind of how to take care of them. And as we say in all of our videos and everything that we do, we're in no way, shape, or form claiming to be experts. This is just how we do it and how it works for us and kind of what we feel as far as whether or not water monitors are good pets. And I think we kind of came across really quickly to just be like, yes, they're terrible, whatever. I don't know, you didn't say terrible, but
I didn't say terrible, and they are good pets.
If you're willing to put in the time, if you have the time to care for them, you have the space to care for them, then they can be great. Ours is obviously small. We have his adult size space already planned out. And it'll be great because we socialize him all the time. But like Maddox said, if you don't have the time to socialize them, you can see videos online of people with these super social monitors. But what they don't always tell you is, I never walk past this cage without at least reaching and petting him. Move out of the way. You can see he's coming right back up to the front trying to see what's going on. I don't know if you can see that or not, but he lets us know when we're by the cage that he wants to come out. And that's because he knows that whenever he does that, he's gonna come out. Because whenever we see that, we take him out. Not everybody has the time to do that though. So anyway, if you do want one, more power to you. Do your research. Make sure you're prepared for the size. Make sure you're prepared for how much time it takes. This is not something like a crested gecko where you can just put it in there and have no heat, no light, and just make sure it has food every day and water. It's definitely requires a lot more attention and interaction than that. But thanks, Grant, for having us on here. It was really cool. Can't wait to see the final product. And that's all we got. We'll see you guys next time.